You are about to enter a great adventure.
This is Strutting from Gorilla.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Strutting from Gorilla. I am Mikey Cash. My boy Vito is not with us today, but we do have a very special guest with us for our WrestleMania preview episode. But before we get to that, let me just run through the socials where you guys can find us. On Facebook, we're at SFG Podcast. Twitter and TikTok at @from_gorilla. On Instagram at sfgorillapod, and our website is struttingfromgorilla.com. All right, that's out of the way. So like I was mentioning before, sadly, my fellow host, Big Vito, could not be with us today, scheduling nightmare. However, fear not, we have with us today someone who we're very honored to have on the podcast with us. For our listeners here in Boston, you've probably heard his voice doing the public address announcing at Gillette Stadium for the New England Revolution and the Patriots. You'll also have heard his voice on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And most importantly, today you're going to hear his voice talking about professional wrestling. We're going to be talking about our WrestleMania love and what we're looking forward to at the show of shows this year. So I'd like to welcome Mike Sarge Riley to the show. Mike, so glad to have you on here, man. Thanks for being here.
Cash, thank you for having me, my man. And, it's always nice to hear the accolades, working hard for all those things in life, but there's nothing more that I enjoy than to talk wrestling. And if we can talk that with you today, let's hit this out of the park, baby. I can't wait.
Dude, let's just dive right in. All right. So yeah. I just finished watching Raw this morning before we're here recording. I got to say, last night's show was electric.
It was good.
Absolutely electric.
It was a good one. St. Louis, great wrestling town. And we know the history there, the Orton family, of course, the Midwest, if you will. But Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, I mean, it's heating up. And I'll say this, though, Mike. I thought going into last night, this past week's Raw, I don't want to have too much of a time constraint for you guys, and you know what I mean, if you're going to have this replayed throughout the week or whatever. So this past week's Raw, you know what I mean, on March 20th, there wasn't too much a build-up for Cody and Roman. Like, I thought it was a little under the radar, not too, over dramatic. But the promo to close out the show, it got me more excited. It got the juices flowing, if you know what I mean. And for Cody to say, not to mention my dad anymore, and for Roman to make the comment about the AEW, you went walking away and so forth, right?
Oh, my God.
I do have to ask the question, though. Is WWE bringing up AEW too much? Like, similar to how AEW did that with WWE, obviously the debut of it when Cody slams the sledgehammer on Triple H's throne 4 years ago. Right? Not like that, but, yeah. But it's just like, I don't know. Do you have to go that low? That's what I'm trying to think.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like it's just become like a fad for them now. Like over the last few years, both of them have been doing this. I mean, I think even before AEW was actually on the air, I'm pretty sure one time Sami Zayn was on Raw and he mentioned something. He was like, oh, maybe I could talk about AEW. And the crowd just kind of went wild about that. So right. I feel like I don't know if it's like a cheap pop or something. Like they're looking for something there whenever they mention one another. And I feel like they don't need to anymore. This isn't the Attitude Era. They're not actually trying to put the other one out of business. The maliciousness is gone now. Right, so this is it's all fans that are sort of have that kind of tribalism. But I do agree. I think the focus should be on WrestleMania. I get that Cody Rhodes had the history with AEW, but I don't think it's something that needs to be brought up as much as it's getting brought up. I could kind of see where maybe last night felt like an exception because I think people wanted those promos between Roman and Cody to go a step further, to get a little bit more intense, because it was very cordial, their first interaction on SmackDown a few weeks ago. So I think you needed to ratchet it up a little bit, and they definitely did that. And I feel like that's just in their minds, well, how else can you ratchet it up? Let's mention his former company and the fact that he couldn't get over there.
Good point. Very good point. And it's just food for thought to think about. Like, all right, are we really doing this too much now? So, but it wasn't Cody that said it. It wasn't him. It was Roman Reigns. So it makes you think from the production standpoint. We can't have Cody say this because then it would really look like he wanted to stick at AEW. Let's just give it to Roman to say that. So it's not too bad in that sense there. But Mike, it's very interesting here. It's fascinating with the Bloodline, the whole storyline after the promo, and so much, I guess you could say, not dissent among the ranks, if you will, but friction, clear friction in the Bloodline with Solo Sikoa, Jimmy and Jay. Obviously, that's the heart of it. The Usos and Roman Reigns, and then Paul Heyman, of course, he'll go with whoever. But Sami Zayn to branch off and get backstabbed by the Usos and Kevin Owens. There's just so much storyline here and so much investment here with the Bloodline going into WrestleMania. I got some thoughts on this. I got a lot of thoughts as to what may go down and maybe a WWE swerve for everyone here.
Really?
Well, you got to think here. I mean, we know it's not Vince calling creative anymore. We're being told that. Right. But he's there, and WrestleMania is his baby, right? And he works so hard to put Roman Reigns over, and he's been the champion. Let's make this clear now: Universal Champion for over 900 days. He's been the undisputed champion. Yeah, you know what I mean. So that's where I think they have a little safety net here for Cody Rhodes to somehow win this match, and you could still. This is what I fear, Mike. Okay, my take on this, and I'll give you my take is that I would not be shocked if Roman Reigns wins this match. I really would not. I think the world is saying Cody Rhodes is going to win. I have to go into that mindset here where I just look at Clash at the Castle, the best opportunity for Roman to lose, where he should have lost, and all of a sudden, Solo Sikoa comes out, and then you go to Montreal, Sami Zayn's hometown, hot crowd right there, and he wins. It's just that's why I'm not ruling this out here, especially with it being so close to WrestleMania, where they have not made a stipulation, they being WWE, not made a stipulation that this is going to be for one title, but they're still holding on to the undisputed, and the overall picture is to protect Roman Reigns to get to 1,000 days. And that's what I fear.
It's funny that you actually mentioned that, because I've just been listening around to other folks talking about this match, and that is something that continues to come up. Will they just let him win so that they can get him to 1,000 days? Because that's unprecedented in modern day professional wrestling. I mean, what CM Punk was the closest that there was, and he's eclipsed that. I mean, more than doubled it. So I think there is a very real possibility here that Cody could lose. And then I guess the question goes, how much longer does he remain champion then? If Roman wins, in my head, I'm like, well, just leave him champion for another 2 years then. Then just make it an absolute Bruno type of run, or just have him dominate the sport for a couple more years until somebody else comes along, or maybe Cody fights him again next year. I mean, that's happened before. I mean, it wasn't for a title, but we've seen that with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. He was like, hey, I'm going to come back. I'm going to challenge you again this year at WrestleMania. Him and Triple H. So it's not unprecedented.
It's not unprecedented. The other thing I'm really reading into this here, and back to my my point of the titles not being split, and Triple H's, I think his overall goal is to get 2 titles, meaning one on SmackDown and one on Raw, right? And the undisputed thing, from what I'm being told and from what I've heard, is that Triple H doesn't like that undisputed thing. They're trying to build that up there. But again, here we are. We're 10, 11 days out from WrestleMania, and there's no stipulation for one one belt, one title. Same thing goes for the Usos with the undisputed tag team titles, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have the challenge out there to go for the undisputed tag team championship. And I just look at it where you have a potential from a business standpoint now where a new contract, television contract, is coming up on the horizon with Fox. That's why Vince is back. I think that they want the appeal to have the championships, the undisputed one there for Fox and so forth. I think that's why they did that. But from the creative standpoint, it's really, you have two brands. You really should try to have one champion per brand. But if that's not going to be the case, which really has been a mixed bag, then it goes against my whole argument there. So that's why I'm, you know what I mean? I'm just going against the whole thing of Roman Reigns. I wouldn't be shocked if he wins the match. That's my point. In WWE, they did everything they could to put this guy over for years, and it didn't work. And then finally he goes heel. The best thing that happened to Roman Reigns, Mike, was the global pandemic. The global pandemic.
I couldn't agree more.
Right?
Couldn't agree more. He got time away. He came back and it's just been off to the races ever since. He's not the same guy that he was before. It's remarkable.
And even when they had the Thunderdome, right? The no crowd. Like, I know you're injecting sound and everything, and fans and the video board and all that, but his promos were great, and that's how you're just so invested because you have to listen. You had that opportunity to listen there. When they were live in person before all that, you listen to a little bit, but really got the full attention. It's like, okay, whoa, this is like a real big deal here, Roman Reigns. So that's the other thing too in pro wrestling. If Roman, he's been a champion 900 days now, universal title. Let's call a spade here. What's the point of being a champion for so long and then not laying that? Not going to say lay down, but not being willing to put someone over or, have someone go to that next step. That's what pro wrestling is about in the grand scheme of things. I mean, John Cena did it for years. He put talent over. You look at the Undertaker's streak, right? Maybe Taker says now that, it probably didn't have to be Brock Lesnar, but the streak should have been broken. So at some point, someone's got to beat Roman Reigns. And I think this might be the best case scenario, but as a safety net, Mike, you can't get your hopes up on this for Cody Rhodes. Like, it's just how it is. It's how WWE is. Look at the track record.
Right. Like I feel the same way. I honestly, I found myself worried, kind of related to this topic of, were the fans going to turn on Cody because they loved Sammy so much? And I will give Triple H and company some credit for how they've handled that transition of Sammy into Cody. They handled it probably as masterfully as they could have handled that, because we've seen this happen before. We've seen the Daniel Bryan situation where they had their mindset on who they wanted in the main event of WrestleMania, and the fans just absolutely rebelled against it because somebody came up organically and they connected with him. And that's what happened with Sammy here. And so I thought it was really great how they've handled that transition. And now, I'm very invested in this Cody and Roman match. I think there's a lot of significance behind it. I think it's like for the Rhodes name to have a second generation Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania. I can't imagine what that means for that family to have him in that spot right now. And I think for Roman too, again, this is a big deal for him. They've continued to have these, like you said, these big matches that they've built up to where you thought Drew McIntyre was going to be the guy to dethrone him, and then they swerved you on that. So now they're doing the same thing with Cody, and it makes perfect sense for us to sit here questioning, well, what if he loses? Now, what does he do the next day? What happens the next night on Raw? How do we handle that? How does he explain himself if that's what happens? And if it's Roman, then what kind of run does this guy go on until they reach a point where they're ready to say we're gonna have you drop the titles? So I'm not sure.
Well, that's the thing too. So to your point, if it is okay, let me start with the Cody thing. If Cody is to win, I think that's the perfect situation where WWE looks at it as the first Raw after WrestleMania. That essentially is their New Year's Day on the calendar, right? Yep. That's when they restart everything, and Triple H will then have his opportunity to really, I mean, he's already made quite a mark, no doubt. Look at what he's done in 9 months since he became creative control, maybe even 7, 8 months, whatever it is. But then he can make the situation right there of Cody to have that who will go after him next. And I think that the easy answer is if Cody is to win, somehow you get one of the Usos maybe go after him, Solo
Mhm.
Sikoa, even Sami Zayn could say, I want my title shot again. Maybe you could have that.
Right.
But the other thing is if Roman wins, it just sets up another rematch with Cody. And I think
Yeah.
WWE could look at that on paper where, this might be the opportunity here. But we've seen that so many times, Mike, and I go to the old school, like especially 92, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. I know they didn't do it at WrestleMania. It still kills
Mhm.
me to this day. And
Yeah.
Vince looks at it, he looked at it like with the house shows that they weren't drawing. They didn't have too much Hogan and Flair. It didn't work, and it wouldn't work on a Mania stage. I just disagree with that. So I think that you have to maybe cash in while you can, and this is probably the
Mhm.
best opportunity for Cody to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes a lot of sense for Cody to win. I think you have a lot of stories set up now because it feels like Roman's sort of run through the roster at this point. Because who
Yeah,
else? I mean, what they were considering Rock. I know that was sort of something that was kind of in the cards, and then that fell through, and so it was sort of perfect timing that Cody was coming back from injury around this time, and they were able to sort of like get him positioned into this match. But
sounds like there's
yeah,
some friction between The Rock and Roman Reigns too. By the way. Little
really? I
friction.
didn't hear
Yeah, a
about
little,
that. What's going
little,
on with
little,
them?
little behind the scenes stuff. I think with the movie stuff they had together there. Roman or The Rock. Roman didn't like how he thought he should have had more airtime than The Rock. I don't think The Rock wanted to put Roman over, so it's some egotistical. It just didn't work out. And then obviously The Rock with his insurance for
Hmm.
the movie making thing was very high risk, low reward sort of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was the overall foundation of why he's not on the card.
Yeah. Do you find, were you disappointed at all that match didn't come to fruition? I know that's been something that's been talked about for years now, but I
Yeah,
was curious if you felt that way.
yeah. I mean, yes and no, because
Mm.
like would it be a cool moment? No doubt, absolutely.
Sure.
And
Sure.
and yes, for WWE from a business standpoint, they'd be raking in the cash, not that they aren't
Hmm.
already, but The Rock, he's the biggest movie star in the world right now to have that attention. But where does he go from there? So that's why I look at it from that standpoint. Is The Rock going to be your champion at SummerSlam? No, it's not going to happen. So that's why I'm not super disappointed. 25 years ago, different story, but not right now. Different
Yeah.
time in his life. So
Hmm.
it'd be
Yeah.
cool on paper, but here's the other thing too, Mike. I don't think you needed to have
Hmm.
Rock fight for a championship. I don't think he needed to have a title. You could just have the match with Roman.
I'm so glad you said that because, you know, am a self-admitted Rock lover. I mean, I've
Yeah,
loved this guy from the very beginning. Like he was my
yeah,
favorite wrestler growing up, and I've had the opportunity to watch him wrestle a few times.
yeah.
And I was at WrestleMania 29 when he fought Cena in that
Oh,
rematch, and where
nice.
he like what did he like? He had like he like tore had like a hernia or something. Like he destroyed his body during that
Yep,
match.
yep.
But and that's what I keep thinking of is with each passing year, his body is show it will probably get less and less able to hold up to just like the rigors of being in the ring as
Yep,
much and as great as in shape as he is. I mean, we could watch his Instagram videos all day of him like lifting chains and stuff, but when it
yep.
comes to in ring conditioning, I just don't think it's there for him at this time. And I know that feels like sacrilege because I love The Rock, but I
Right.
don't think he needs to do this anymore.
No, he
Leave
doesn't.
it for what it is. It's fine. Maybe come out, do a promo, I have a thought in mind of maybe where he could even fit in for this year's WrestleMania. LA
Okay.
Knight has been on a mission to have some sort of involvement in WrestleMania. Yeah, every week he's coming out on SmackDown and he's pulling these promos. And a lot of people have made some comparisons to his sort of promo style and to Rock's. And so I wonder if maybe Rock does a little thing, comes out, rock bottom people's elbow. That I'm fine with. Have it be a little moment there. But
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to have a proper match anymore. I feel like that, leave it there. And then I can selfishly say I was there for his last match and I don't have to watch anything else.
No, I think that's smart. I like that, Mike. I like that. That's good. And and you're right. You have the last one there, and he definitely did not have to have a championship for a match for a championship. But yes, would it be cool? Absolutely. But I'm with you. Like sometimes you just got to walk off into the sunset as it is, and that's why the Undertaker, he would not be lured back for one more. He couldn't do it. He even said it. That was it. That Boneyard match, even though it was the pandemic there with was AJ Styles. I actually thought that match was cool video, but he's not going to go back for one more. That's it. So things along those lines right there.
Right, just leaving it.
Yeah, take a walk. So the Rock and Roman, from what I heard, there was a little disagreement, if you will, between the two right there. So yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if we ever hear anything more about that.
So do you think Cody's going to win? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Cody's going to win, but I have an open mind to the idea that I would not be surprised if they pulled the trigger and just had Roman continue on, get to 1,000 days, and then have something happen, have some sort of surprise win, like on day 1,000. Like I could almost see them doing that. It feels very on brand for WWE booking to do something like that.
Well, that's it. And if Roman is to win, I just think there's no doubt in my mind that you will see the championship split by SummerSlam. No doubt. So if he is to win, they'll find a way to get that storyline going right there. But right now, I just don't. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. That's why I'm very cautious to get on the Cody train here. And the story has been great. He had the torn pec, came back from that. He was on fire, came off like a rocket last year. And then, his dad, to fulfill his legacy, it makes sense. It makes the most sense to put it on Cody, but that's why I'm ear on the side of caution for this one.
No, I hear you. I just think there's so many options for Cody if he becomes champion. I'm thinking of the guys that challenge Roman even. I mean, I would put Sheamus up there because he's had like a renaissance of his career the last year or so. Those matches with Gunther have been unbelievable. You got McIntyre, who's just like rolling out at the top of the card. Also KO. I mean, geez, Kevin Owens. I think him and Cody could have some real chemistry together. I'm just like, it's just something I've wanted to see happen since he came back. Obviously, Seth Rollins. I mean, there's a lot of folks that I think Cody could also elevate. I think we underestimate Cody's ability to elevate folks. I mean, we watched it happen in AEW too. The fan reaction was what it was, but I think Cody tried really hard. So I think that there's a lot of options for him. I got to ask you, have there ever been a WrestleMania where you felt like I feel this way, as much as I love Cody and Roman, that the build to this tag team match with Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos has felt almost like it overshadows it in a way because of the emotional, I think the emotional importance of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and that whole bloodline involvement. I mean, what do you think about that? Because I feel like that's been something that's just been like a real shocker to me of how invested I am.
Yeah, it's a good, Sami Zayn gets turned on, and then he goes back to his old buddy there, Kevin Owens, who, we know there's some. I don't know if you can trust anybody, if you will, right? In this situation here, because they both turned on each other and everything. So that's that's why I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Usos win the titles. And the thing here is that, Mike, WrestleMania is split up to 2 nights now. So that match could be on night 1. And that could be a potential foreshadow of what's going to happen with Cody and Roman. Because, that is your bloodline right there. But I think it's a good situation here, especially after the Usos turned on Zayn, kick him out of the bloodline. But I don't know. I could totally, again, I'm going to go back to the the storyline telling here that Zayn could turn on Kevin Owens and rejoin the Usos, and that's where I'm not ruling anything out. But it's been interesting to see how Sami Zayn has progressed and became that fan favorite right there. But I don't know. I almost feel like he's kind of fell down back to earth, if you will, after Montreal, because that hype to the Elimination Chamber being in the title match. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Singles match for Roman, just didn't win there, but he's not. I still don't think he's 100% at the height where he was before. And I almost thought that Zayn would have been like a throw-in from what we saw at WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton, and who was the
Batista,
Triple H. Yeah, Batista. Yeah. Or was Triple H a champion? What the hell was it?
No, it was was Randy
Batista.
Orton. Yeah. He fought. He had to fight Triple H earlier in the night.
That's what it was.
Into the match.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So things along those lines there. I thought it would have been a three-way, but I think that again, I'm going from the mindset, if Roman is to remain the champion, then man, then you know what? I'll say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will win the titles. I will say that. And that way you can still get the potential Uso versus Roman if Roman is to retain the title. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's been the story the whole time. When you think about it, that's been the story the whole time here.
From the very beginning with Jay. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, but they're not going to put that on WrestleMania. It's not going to be Roman versus Jay at WrestleMania. No.
But
so
they could do that story even if Roman doesn't have the titles, in my view. Like that could still be an emotionally invested storyline that doesn't need the titles. It's just this family feud, and I think people would still buy into it.
Exactly, and it just the investment right there. Yeah, the whole history of the family. You totally could, but I think it adds a little more, and that's the thing too, Mike. If you are to have that family feud, without the title, it probably would mean Jey Uso goes over. Because I don't think Roman Reigns is going to drop the title to Jey Uso. I don't see that happening.
No, as much as I love Jey, I think he's done great in this whole storyline, but I don't think we're giving him the championship.
Yeah, can't see it happening.
So all right, so we've been discussing the Bloodline and basically the main event and the tag team match. What of these two massive nights for WrestleMania this year, what matches do you find yourself like drawn to outside of the Bloodline and Roman and Cody and the tag?
Oh man, I'd have to say probably Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Because that match 3 years ago, I thought it was a really good match, and I was very heavy on Rhea Ripley's train at that time. I thought that it was an epic failure by WWE not having Rhea Ripley retain the NXT title against Charlotte. And I understand the whole story with Charlotte, to have her be the, break her dad's record, 17. It's going to happen at some point, no doubt. And that's why I think that Rhea Ripley here, she's just so over right now. And people love mommy, and, she's just wants that revenge on Charlotte. And I'm very invested in that one there. I've been a big Rhea Ripley fan since day one. I think she is going to beat Charlotte because it eventually does tell the situation where Charlotte can get back to the title and just add more numbers on her resume. And Charlotte's run this time around as a champion, it's been like I don't know, not invested at all. Not a good run here.
No, it seems like an afterthought, really.
Yeah, it really is, So I think I'm very invested in that. And then also, I really want to see Cena and Austin Theory. Very excited for that match.
Oh, I know. I gotta say, I was so jealous that I wasn't able to be at that Raw in Boston when Theory and Cena had their little promo exchange, because it was phenomenal watching it on TV. Holy smoke, Cena lit him up.
Shameless plug. You know what else is phenomenal too? The interview we had with Austin Theory a couple of days before. Check it out in the archives. 95 Sports Hub.
That's right. That's right.
My man, Austin Theory. He's a great guy.
Austin Theory, man. He's really had a hell of a turnaround. And honestly, I think I personally find it as a credit to Triple H. I think Triple H kind of saw what needed to happen with that character
Yep.
because however it was going on when Vince was in control. I mean, whatever, we don't need to really get into that, but the bottom line here is I think it's been a much more natural progression for Austin
Oh yeah.
Theory's character work since Triple H kind of took over and just sort of helped sort of form where this guy is going. And you can tell that Theory is much more comfortable. Like, you can see it when
Totally.
a performer's out there and they're just sort of in the zone. And Theory's there. And this is a great challenge for him with John Cena. And
Totally.
kudos to John Cena for coming back.
Well, you know what, and I think he's the kind of guy that he will gladly put the talent over. He'll put the
Mm-hmm.
talent over, and it's really cool to, even again, I I'll plug this again. Interviewing Austin Theory last year, in August 2022, he did say that he looked up to John Cena. That was his
Mm-hmm.
favorite guy growing up, and he started watching him in Atlanta. So that's a dream come true for him to fight your hero. I guess you could say, be in the same ring,
Yeah.
and maybe have him put you over. That's amazing. So I can't
Do
see
you
Cena winning the title. I just
Right, right. I don't think so either. And so my prediction is that Theory wins this one, and I think
Yep.
it's a statement win for him. And then
Absolutely.
later on throughout the year, if you want to start dibble and dabbling with him kind of in the main event kind of scene or having some number one contenders matches, then it makes sense because he just beat a legend in John Cena, so now he's got that mark on his record, and that like this guy's legit.
And Austin Theory, Mike, he's only 24, 25 years old. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah.
And maybe it's what WWE is trying to tell you, if you really look through the lines here, that this might be the next John Cena. Could be. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, Cena, comes back, puts him over. And then, of
Right.
course, Cena a couple weeks ago when he was in Boston at the Raw, he gives Cody Rhodes the hug right there. So a lot of things being passed down. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's essentially, he'll retire probably sooner than later. That'll be it.
Yeah.
He's definitely in the back nine for his wrestling career. But I just think that Austin Theory, that WWE sees a lot of potential in him. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Started with Vince McMahon with that golden egg, and he saw right away with the Survivor Series a couple years ago.
Oh my god.
Right?
Whenever Vince McMahon does something like that, I just think of like the curse of Drew McIntyre for all those years when he did that.
Oh my God, that's
Do
true.
you remember when he dubbed him? It was just like you just set
So
him up
bad.
to fail.
Yeah,
Set
so
this guy
bad.
up. Like no
Yeah.
pressure or anything, but you're a future champion.
It's a rib. It's a rib. Vince is ribbing him, right?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I've really enjoyed the feel of this Theory and Cena storyline. There's something about it that reminds me of back at WrestleMania 19 when Jericho fought HBK. It was
Yep.
very much that same kind of feel of this is my mentor. You were the reason I became a professional wrestler, and now they get to fight at Mania. So it'll be really cool.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very excited to see how this goes. And just to be in the same ring right there. It's seen it to get him back. That's pretty damn awesome if you ask me. So those are the two other ones. I know you mentioned too, Mike, potential other opponents for Roman down the line, but a
Mhm.
guy who's really, I think, skyrocketed big time over the last few months and made the title more relevant is the Intercontinental title, Gunther, right?
Oh my god, absolutely.
So you got to watch his match here at WrestleMania. It's gonna be the triple threat with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. That's going to be a great matchup. I feel like that's sort of like a dark horse to steal the show. Is those
Agreed.
three? You wouldn't imagine it because it's not a bunch of high flyers here. But I
No.
think these guys are going to beat the hell out of each other, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And Triple H Gunther is a Triple H guy. He's a
Mhm.
Triple H guy, NXT through and through. I mean, before that, he was Walter, right?
Yep. Yep.
And I actually was at NXT Takeover in New York, 2019, and it was right before what was that, 37? Wait a minute, 35, WrestleMania 35,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was when Gargano beat Adam Cole, but It was a 25-minute match for the United Kingdom Championship. Just a classic match. Walter beat Pete Dunne. And I'm like, who is this guy? I didn't really know too much about him, but I'm like, I was really invested. And sure, he really got cut up now, lost the baby fat or whatever he had around him there. But I was really invested in him. And Triple H is that was his guy, and you can see the evolution of him. So if we've seen what he's done so far, he's probably going to have himself a good WrestleMania match here, and that's one you should really watch. Keep an eye on that triple threat one there too.
Yeah, definitely. That's sort of a dark horse for me to steal the show.
Yep.
Another one that I'm looking forward to, and I know it hasn't been announced yet, but I feel like it's all but Dominic versus Ray. I just want to see that.
Yes.
I want to see that with a personal stipulation of mine that if he loses, he has to go on A&E 60 days in and actually do time in prison. But that's just my own my own take on this. But
yeah,
I think one of the funniest bits in wrestling right now has been his week to week, just talking about like his afternoon in county jail, and then now this has been like the biggest issue of his life. So I don't know why Dominic kind of cracks me up. I think he gets a ton of heat, so I think he's been really great for the Judgment Day.
Well, exactly, and the fact that turned on his dad and gave him the low blow there, and Edge too at the that Clash of the Castle pay-per-view is proving to be a huge game changer for where we are now. So that right there, but I look at it where this, Mike. I mean, that's Rey Mysterio's son. He's going to put his kid over. He's going to put him over, and I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they make that a retirement match stipulation.
Yeah,
that might be.
I could see that. Right, I mean, he's going in the Hall of Fame this year anyway, so it just feels,
go in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and you know what? He's just doing it to put his son over, and I think that's the best thing to do it, and best way to do it, and probably the biggest honor he could ever have too.
Right, absolutely. I mean, what a moment between those two. They were already able to be tag champions at one point, and I think this is I think it's going to be sort of a tender moment, quite honestly.
Definitely will.
Even with everything that Dominic's been doing, I think at the end of the day,
absolutely
might have some teary eyes in the building that night.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah. 619.
I know. So, all right. Last thing I want to bring up about this card.
No, please.
I think it's amazing that Lita and Trish are going to be on a card in 2023 at WrestleMania. I know, right? That's phenomenal. Right? That's phenomenal to me.
It really is. It really is. Here they were. When you look at 25 years ago, bra and panties matches, right? And the women's elevation where it's come to this far here in WWE and to, even showcase main events. Lita and Trish were at the forefront there. Like, I know, they're great looking women, but they weren't in that category to, I guess you could say, be in the bra and panties matches. They should have had their own matches. They should have had their own WrestleMania moments. And this is, I think, what they're getting repaid for kind of paving the way, if you will, for the Becky Lynches, for the Charlottes, for the Bianca Belairs, for the Oscars, all that stuff right there. I mean, hell, Chyna, we know about her, no doubt about that. But, she's no longer with us, as we know. But those two right here, they're right at the forefront as well. To have that athleticism and to showcase their wrestling talent in the ring too, and I'm happy for them to get their WrestleMania moment right here. Been pretty good, and two great people too. Yeah, the couple interactions I had with them, just very, very nice people.
Oh, totally deserving. I think I've seen, JR is very excited about all this. Even though he's working for AEW, I think he's just pumped to see that they're in a WrestleMania match. I think it's awesome.
100%. Yeah. Well, he signed them both, right?
Yeah. He's got that special place in his heart for his old signees. So it's really cool to see that.
Absolutely.
You know what? There's a match that keeps I feel as though it's just gotten lost in the shuffle. But Bianca Belair versus Asuka on paper seems like it's going to be a barn burner, but there's been not a great story leading up to this for some reason. I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, I'm with you too. You took the words out of my mouth there, Mike. I really have no big investment on this one here, and it's crazy because 2 years ago, Bianca Belair closes out night one of WrestleMania with Sasha Banks, first ever women's main event for WrestleMania, which is awesome. And Bianca Belair is a true babyface, as we know, through and through in the company, WWE, the way she's come up and so forth. But I don't really, I'm with you. I've no real sizzle in the steak on this one for me. I just, yeah, something's not clicking on this one. So, I mean, with all due respect, if you're going to be at WrestleMania, this might be the match to go up to the restroom or the concession stand. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong.
I know. If it was up to me, Asuka would have been just straight heel. Like when she came back at the Rumble, I thought she was going to sort of assume the persona that she had in Japan, and people were all up in arms about it. And it's just been, now we're going to push her as a face, and it's like a face versus face kind of thing, and it's just not really working for me. But let's see. We'll see what happens at the show. But I hope it's a good match. I think they both have the capacity for it. Absolutely. So
they do. They definitely do. Bianca Belair is awesome. She's got a huge fan base, and she's a great in-ring performer. True women's champion. And like I said, a true babyface here on out from the start to finish in WWE. It's really been amazing how I don't think she's ever been a heel, right?
No, I don't think so either. No, she was sort of down. I mean, maybe down in NXT, but even then, I think kind of quickly turned. So
yeah. So
all right. I feel like we've covered a lot of the matches here. Is there any that we forgot about that you're finding yourself drawn to, or that you want to make sure we give shed a light on?
You know what? Don't rule out Seth Rollins, Logan Paul. That could be a good one. You know, Seth Rollins, I think anything he touches is just funny. He's a funny guy. So he's done everything asked of him. And something interesting could happen here on this one, Logan Paul, with the social media stuff. You know, maybe he does like a live Instagram or something for on the match or anything, and just to generate that there. Just I don't know, it'll lose some sort of curve, I think. But that's just I like Seth Rollins. I think he's been really funny with this. Brock Lesnar, Omos, that's just Vince's way. Well, back in the day, like, oh, those are the guys going through the airport, you know, and just huge Omos. But, you know, I think in the end, and you and I know, I think Brock Lesnar's just there for the payday, right?
He's absolutely just there.
Yeah, he'll do whatever's necessary, right?
Right. I think he's smiling and having a good time now, but he is just there cashing a check at the end of the day. Which, hey, you know what? Your approach is your approach to this business, but, you know, hopefully it doesn't go the way of his match with Dean Ambrose a couple years ago. So, and there's some actual, like, I don't know, investment into this match on his part. We'll see.
Right. And you know what? Anytime you can get a Hell in a Cell, I'm all for that too. I like Hell in a Cell. So give me Edge on that one. I think it's going to be Finn Balor.
That'll be good. I love Finn Balor, so I'm happy for him that he finally gets like a really prominent program in a singles match. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Yep. It's going to be good. Very excited. So how about you? What match are you most excited for? I know we talked Cody and Roman to an extent.
You know, honestly, for me, I do think my own personally, it's Edge and Finn Balor. I think Edge has done great since he's come back, and he's really recovered since the whole Judgment Day thing, like kind of fiasco. Yep. So I think it's been really good for him. And like I said, I've been a Finn Balor guy since the very beginning, since he was over in Japan, and then he came over to NXT, and just like the lackluster runs he's had on the main roster in the past, but this time he's finally found his footing, and you can see the guy is comfortable. So I'm just so happy to see him in that place. And he's a Triple H guy, so he's finally getting that chance to shine the way he sort of deserves it, because he's sort of at the tail end too. He's in his 40s at this point. I can't see him doing it much longer, as in phenomenal shape as he is. I do think that it's really been great for Finn Balor to shine, and I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be really good, as well as the triple threat match. I just think those guys are so hard hitting. And I think it means a lot, like you were saying, for the Intercontinental title, because you have two guys in Sheamus and Drew, former champions in their own right, and have also been booked pretty strongly in general, even without a title in the last couple of years. So I think that adds to the prominence of this, where in the past, this might have been kind of a throwaway, like, or maybe a ladder match or something, where it's kind of just there for the thrills and the spots. and not necessarily for, oh, this means a lot. These are 3 guys that could be a champion in the next year.
Right. Definitely. And again, the whole evolution here of the Triple H footprint, if you will, on the future WWE, it's really taken shape now. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Those are the guys I think who he sees and what he sees for the future here. Because essentially with the Gunther, the Austin Theory, and even like I mentioned before too, the split of the titles, Roman, Cody, if it's going to be split, if you can do that, and if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it will happen eventually. So it's gonna be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. 2 nights though, Mike.
2 nights.
I don't.
Are you ready? Are you going? You're going to both nights?
Attending both nights. Yes, attending both nights. Now, last year I was only at night 2 in Dallas, and this was the second go around last year with fans for 2 nights, as we know. I'm kind of a traditionalist. I like the one night a little more if you can cut it down, but I get it. They want to get everyone on the card and it's not all drawn out because one night and like 15 matches, it's a long time, right?
Yeah, that is a marathon.
Yeah, and I just remember the one in New York, WrestleMania 35, 2019, the women's main event went on at midnight.
That crowd is exhausted. It's so hard to get up for that kind of thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, way too much. It sucked the air out of you. Way too much.
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear that Triple H is wanting to start condensing the WrestleManias, but as I'm looking at the card right now, I'm like, well, there's still going to be about 7 matches apiece per night. So
7 apiece, but it's a little. They've trimmed the fat a little bit, which is good.
Yeah. So no battle royals, any of that. Like right. I as much as I get why they want to keep everybody on the card, but I mean, you're kind of watering down the WrestleMania moment.
Well, that's exactly it. Yes, that's exactly it. You look at the old WrestleManias. I mean, they had 5-6 matches at most, and it just you that's exactly it. You want to have that last moment. I mean, back in the day, it was Hogan must pose. We know that,
right?
For the end, but still, though, you want to have the big moment that you remember, and not like, oh, that happened there. Wait a minute, what happened? So things along those lines there.
Well, let's get into a couple of questions here. Some of your favorites, right? We kind of discussed this before we started recording today, but what's your favorite celebrity appearance? We're gonna have Logan Paul on here, and I'm sure there'll be some surprises in the crowd because it's gonna be in Hollywood. We're gonna have some actors there. Who do you find to be some of your favorite celebrity appearances at Mania?
Oh man, I will always go back to the one here in Boston, WrestleMania 14. And this was before the Red Sox broke the curse, and Pete Rose comes out, and he is the ring announcer for Kane and the Undertaker's match. Gets on, and I was there for that Mania 14, and Pete Rose, and I was with my dad and my younger brother too. My dad was like so pumped up to see Pete Rose, he actually gave him a big standing ovation and all that, and he's like, should be in the Hall of Fame, and big believer in that. So Rose gets on the microphone and just starts getting heat right away. Curse of the Bambino, how's Bill Buckner doing? And just everyone is throwing heat on him. And next thing you know, Kane comes out, gives him the tombstone, and the place just roars, absolutely erupted cheering. So I love that one. That was great. Obviously Mike Tyson being there for the Austin era, right?
Amazing.
I think the greatest celebrity match of all time, though, was a couple of years ago with Bad Bunny.
Oh my God, he was phenomenal, wasn't he?
Right? That match at Mania 37.
Yeah.
He, Bunny and Damian Priest and The Miz, they were all right there. I thought he was really, really good. Did a really, really good match. So for in-ring performances. But those are my favorite. That's my favorite celebrity one with the Pete Rose and the Kane. I always love that.
It was such a good. I liked how they had like a running gag. It was like 3 years in a row where just Pete Rose would like find his way into WrestleMania and Kane would just
Yep.
tombstone him. You know,
Yep.
it's so
Exactly.
good.
Yep. Yeah. How about yours? What was your favorite?
I was gonna say Pete Rose, but so that he is up there. But I this might not be a popular one, but I actually really liked Floyd Mayweather's involvement. I thought
You
it
did.
was I know that it's not a popular opinion, but I was like, he got a lot of heat. And I think that's what I'm about. It's like, well, it's gonna get people's eyes on the product because they hate him. So him just being involved in any way, I thought like was really great. But I think was it after last year, Johnny Knoxville. Dude. Johnny Knoxville was, oh my god, as a celebrity match, phenomenal. I mean, it was exactly what it needed to be, him and Sammy's match. And you know what? He just like bought in. He was a guy that wasn't afraid to get thrown around. And I know I've seen some other celebrities like, Hugh Jackman had a great little thing one time on Raw. But, like as far as like being on like that kind of a stage, WrestleMania, and Johnny Knoxville just like, sure, I'm going to get tossed around and it's fine. I can do this. I thought it was a nice, fun match. So for me, those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, no, I got you. There's some good ones. You know what else, too? I was watching WrestleMania 10 the other day, just poking around on that. Burt Reynolds, he was a ring announcer for the Yokozuna Bret Hart match. Also, Donnie Wahlberg, New Kids on the Block, he was the ring announcer for Yoko and Lex Luger, the first match there of the night. And then, of course, you go back to WrestleMania 7. Regis Philbin was there. There was a cool moment where he interviewed The Undertaker, and Paul Bearer and The Undertaker, they're measuring him like
it's like they're measuring for a casket.
Exactly, yeah. So that was pretty funny. Alex Trebek was at that one too. I saw some good ones over the years. They always try to have the celebrities, and it's. Hollywood, I think they'll probably do whatever they can to get their weight around on that one for this time around here. But Andy Kaufman, the late Andy Kaufman's going into the Hall of Fame, right?
That's going to be that's really cool. Like that guy, that was deserving. That's very deserving in my view.
Yeah, posthumously, of course, but that'd be. But yeah, things along those lines there. They'll do something good with Hollywood. But some good celebrities over the years. Vince has pulled them out of his sleeve on that one.
Yeah, and so. The next question I have for you, this will be our last one. We'll finalize with this. It's usually the hardest one. Overall, favorite Mania.
I mean, I am going to be biased because of 14. I do admit that it may not have been the best show, but it may have been the most significant WrestleMania 14. Like you look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, you look at The Rock. Where just a day after he became the leader of the Nation of Domination. They teased that, and then he was off to the races. Not that he wasn't, but he was really that solidified him. He was champion later that year, The Rock, 98. Triple H and becoming the new leader of DX after Shawn got hurt. Austin McMahon, that's where right there it all began. Undertaker and Kane still continued their storyline. Some really good stuff. I mean, Foley was the Cactus Jack, but he went back to Mankind a couple of months later and got thrown off the Hell in the Cell. So just like you had so much there at 98 where you carried some stories for the next 3-4 years. And, whoever had the line initially, Hogan made Vince a millionaire. Austin made him a billionaire. And it's just really how it was. Like I love that one. I also I'm a sucker for WrestleMania 10 because like
so good.
Right? You like that one too?
Yeah, I used to own the VHS of it. I would watch it over and over again. So good.
Yeah, it's just like I'm a sucker for it because kayfabe was so alive. It was after Survivor Series here in Boston, 93. And I know it was kind of like that was not a good show, but that was where Owen Hart turned on Brett. And then we got the Owen Brett match, which was amazing at Mania 10. Brett wins the title that night. Luger, I thought he had a shot. Vince never saw it. I don't know. Someone made the reference to me not too long ago that Cody Rhodes might be the new Lex Express. I'm like, oh, come on, please.
Not even. I don't see that at all. I don't see that at
Yeah,
all. But
yeah, they
but
just don't like Cody. That's their
yeah,
problem.
that's what that
You
is.
know, yeah, yeah. The person will go unnamed. But Mania 10 though, I really like that a lot too.
Mhm.
And yeah, those are probably 14 and 10. How about you? What's your favorite one?
Well, first I want to say I think Big Vito, if he was here today, he would agree with you because he was also at WrestleMania 14. So I
Yep.
know how much that means to him. So shout out to Vito. I know you can't be here today, but we are with you. We are with you.
We're
We
with
love
you,
you.
Vito.
So for me, I by the way, you eloquently put that the meaning of WrestleMania 14 about the show, and then it really sort of set up the rest of the year and sort of how
Yep.
significant it was. So I appreciate that. For me, I gotta say is WrestleMania 17. I always come back to that one
Yep.
because it was this is sort of a little bit of the opposite where I felt like from top to bottom that card had everything you needed. It covered
It
all
did.
the bases. I mean, you even had a really fun hardcore triple threat. Raven, Kane, and Big Show, like they just kind of tossed each other all around. It was kind of short and sweet, but exactly what it needed to be. They got the Titantron involved, and by the way, that Titantron, holy cow, that was the first time
Oh,
I had seen
yeah.
something that massive, and it was like the big design and everything, and like I remember playing the video games later on just so that I could play at the WrestleMania stage. It was awesome. Uh,
Well, yeah. Well, so
Obviously, oh,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
No, I know where you're going to get to. Go ahead, finish it out. I know where you're going to get to the
You know what
17.
I'm going to get to. Like
Yeah.
the probably the best promo package of all time is
Oh yeah.
Limp Bizkit with
Yep.
for the main event of Rock and Austin, which that's just probably their best match that they've had at WrestleMania.
Yep.
But there's so many other ones on there too. I mean, what do we have? We have that Undertaker and Triple H like really just stole the show.
And,
And I mean,
yeah.
it's kind
And
of
that
a
match
tie with
wasn't supposed to be on
TLC
the card.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that match was not supposed to be on the card. Undertaker Triple H. It was a last minute throw-in because they said, "Wait, we got to get the Undertaker on the card," and they finally did. And it's like just a last minute throw-in. It was crazy. So much had happened there.
What a last
You
minute,
know,
right?
the only
Jeez.
thing with Mania 17, to your point, I mean, I liked it. That the problem is that finish, Stone Cold
Oh,
turning
I
heel.
know.
It's
I
like
know.
ultimates, and that's why I have a problem with that being the greatest Mania of all time. People say it, and it was so good, everything. Why the hell are you doing that? And I know, listen to JR, he said it,
Yeah.
that Austin wanted to go heel, and Vince said we owe it to him, and they did. It just, and I think he did say it's a major regret, his regret in his career doing that. So that's why I have a problem with Mania 17 as the greatest of all time, and people go
Yeah.
off of that. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's the way it ended. It's like, what the hell what is this? You had
Yeah,
everyone confused.
it shouldn't have happened that way. And even Austin's gone on record now and said, I was just feeling stale, I was worried, and so I thought I needed to change this
Yep.
up. Really, he shouldn't have done that at all. He should have had. I think he brought it up, and this actually would have been a nice ending where he actually has Vince help him win, and then he stuns him, and then just leaves him.
Yes.
So, which actually would have been
Yes.
very on brand for Austin at the time. Like, okay, sure, thanks for helping me
That
out, but I'm going to stun you anyway.
that would have
So,
been. I think he wanted to be like the WWE's version of the NWO with Hulk Hogan. And you can't always duplicate things like that. And that's just how I thought, with the heel thing there. It didn't work. And then, that same year is when WWE bought WCW, the Invasion. Austin,
yeah,
came back to WWF, and then he goes to WCW. It's like, what are we doing here? What's going on? So I don't know.
yeah.
They were just so hot. And then it's like you get out of the left lane and you go all the way to the granny lane on the right lane. What are we doing to guys? So that's why I don't know. The emotions are really high, and then all that happened there on 17. I'm glad the year after we had the moment with The Rock and Hogan in Toronto.
Oh, that was
Right,
phenomenal.
that was really cool. And then the year after, Austin loses to The Rock, his retirement match, if you will, 19. But yeah, just those are some good ones over the years, definitely. I mean, even go back to the Mega Powers exploding WrestleMania 5.
Yep.
Hogan slams Andre the Giant. Macho Man Ricky Steamboat at Mania 3. Some
Dude.
great moments, dude.
Yeah. At WrestleMania 4, I loved because it was the tournament. I don't know why, but
You
I've
did
always
like it,
been a
yeah.
sucker for a good tournament. And
See,
like,
yeah.
that's why I'm happy with King of the Ring coming back, too, because I just liked a good tournament.
Yeah. It gets a little motivation to it. And then the $1 Million Man in the championship match, right?
He was awesome. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
he was great. Yeah. So some
Great
good
times.
WrestleManias over the years, no doubts. And we'll see what happens here. I hope Cody wins. I hope he does, but you have to have that caveat there, Mike, that WWE might just protect their guy. So
Yeah. I think there's nothing else we can say there. That's a great ending statement for it. So we'll
there you
see
go.
what happens in right about a week's time. So
It's crazy.
we'll see. I know. So, Mike, I know we're coming up against it, but any other final thoughts about your trip to Mania? You're going to be there. Anything you're looking forward to? And then tell the listeners what you're up to and where they can find you too. After.
Sure, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. Yeah. Have you ever been to you've been to WrestleMania? You were in New York, right?
Yeah, I've been to 2. I was at the one. I was at 29 at MetLife, and then I think it was 34. It was the second time they were in New Orleans.
I was at that one too. Yeah, New Orleans was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that was we may have been sitting near each other. I actually like that WrestleMania a lot. 34. I love that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and actually, and also selfishly enough, like you had there with the Rock, his last match, that was Undertaker's last in-ring match in front of a crowd. So
I didn't even realize that, but you're right.
John Cena.
We were there for that. Okay.
We were there for it. We were there.
Yeah.
We accepted the challenge. So, and absolutely squashed Cena, but Cena wanted to put him over. That's the kind of guy he was. Because the year before he loses to Roman Reigns, which was a terrible match to close out the show. Just awful. But so there is a thing at WrestleMania weekend called WrestleCon. You ever hear of that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You have, okay. So did you go to it when you were in New Orleans, WrestleCon?
No, we didn't get to go.
Okay. All right. So I'm staying I'm very excited where WrestleCon is going to be in Los Angeles. It's near the same hotel where it's going to be held. And, I've been fortunate enough to meet a few of the old timers there in the past and, no longer performing, but, Austin Goldberg, I met them through it, Kurt Angle, but this year on my list, and I met him a couple of years ago at Sports World in Saugus with actually the late Scott Hall at the time too. It was Kevin Nash. So I'm really excited to see Nash. And I also found out the other day that both members of the Bushwhackers are going to be there because typically it's and typically like it's only just Butch that travels. Luke didn't really travel too much, so it's going to be Butch and Luke, both of the Bushwhackers. Very excited for that. And I've also I didn't meet him a few years ago, but I really want to get Arn Anderson. Want to do the 4 with him right there. And pretty sad enough to ironically enough, and sad, very sad for both situations. Arn just lost his son last week, 30, right? And Kevin Nash lost his son this year too.
It's awful.
Yeah, and they're both on my, guys to meet, and sad enough that they went through that, which is terrible. So I can't even fathom what they're going through, but just very sad. So WrestleCon, long story short, that's happening over the course of the 2-3 day window there. And we'll probably be a tourist. We'll probably go down to the Hollywood sign. We'll go down to Hollywood Sunset Boulevard, go down to the Grogman's Chinese Theater and, check out the stars down there and all that stuff and have some fun. But we're out of there Monday, so I'm not staying for the Raw after. Hitting the road, back to Boston after that. So.
All right.
But I'm excited. It'll be good. And for those, and again, thank you very much for having me on here, Mike. It's been a lot of fun talking wrestling with you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And
so great to have you on, Mike. I'm really grateful that you were able to get the scheduling all set up here. So
just a quick backstory for this for people that are listening and for with Mike here. I met Mike and his buddy Vito and Mango at a fundraiser for my girlfriend's brother back about a month ago, and they asked me to come on the show, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do this, and just so pumped to do it. But it's just Mike today, so everyone else bailed out. I guess they were scared of us, huh?
I think they were.
So yeah, we'll talk trash to them, but it was a lot of fun. And I really appreciate you having me on. And like you said, you can, I'm on Twitter, Instagram. The handle is at Sarge95, occasionally on the Sports Hub. Check it out whenever you can. And then if you're ever at Gillette Stadium for a Pats or Revs game coming in, please drop a line, say hello. Maybe we can try to meet up before or something, but just listen carefully there every home game. For both of them there. We're in full Revolution season right now. Just started a couple of weeks ago. And if you ever want me for your own voiceover, can also host private events, please consider me for that. Email sargesports@gmail.com, sargesports@gmail.com. Boom. There you go. Mic drop.
Awesome. That's right. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you being on here. It was so great to have you. And you know what? We're going to have you back on at some point.
I'd be honored.
Once we get Vito back in here, maybe we'll get Mango in too. We'll have a party here. We could talk about WrestleMania. Maybe we could do something towards SummerSlam season. We'll figure this out for sure. So we're going to have you back on.
You're the man, Cash. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. And
enjoy. Happy WrestleMania.
Happy WrestleMania season. Thank you. Yes. So I want to say thank you to everybody for listening today. Now, just to be on the lookout, guys, because we also have another episode coming your way a little bit later this week, probably next week. It's actually our first three-peat guest. WrestleVille's Vinny Berry will be on to talk about his new book, The Pro Wrestling Vault Volume 2. So keep an eye on those podcast feeds, folks, because we got some good stuff coming your way. Once again, thank you to Mike for being on. But until then, enjoy your WrestleMania season and keep on strutting, jabronis.
We now return your perception of reality to you. Until next time.